Living up here in the Vail Valley, skiing or snowboarding every day, potentially you find yourself hurting your brain, falling. You know, that's just kind of a natural act of what happens skiing and snowboarding. And yesterday, we had Samantha Holden on here talking about a unique study that she was doing, linking potentially skiing and snowboarding athleticism to reducing Alzheimer's. But today, Samantha, you're back, and you're here to tell us a little bit more about the intricacies between Alzheimer's, dementia, and overall neuroscience.
Yeah, so we see a lot of people in our clinic, and probably the most common question I get is, what's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? And they're used interchangeably, and they're not synonymous. So dementia is just a very broad term that means that somebody's had a change in their thinking and memory enough that they are no longer fully independent in terms of their day-to-day activities, starting with complicated things like paying their bills, taking their medicines, driving, can progress to even needing help with basic things like getting dressed or eating. But dementia is not a specific disease. It's a broad category. So it's really important that people come into our clinic and get checked out if there's any question of their memory changing, because we need to know exactly what kind of change it is, especially because there's some that are treatable. There are medical causes of dementia, things like sleep apnea, untreated sleep apnea or sleep deprivation, vitamin deficiencies, thyroid disease. And if it's not one of those treatable medical ones, we need to be a little bit more thorough in terms of the neurological causes that could be contributing to it.
That's interesting that those still fall under that umbrella of dementia. I would never have expected like a thyroid disease to have come from that. Where is that link occurring?
Yeah, so in terms of kind of the hormonal changes that happen with the differences in how the thyroid is producing those hormones, they can affect the brain too. And those are very common problems that should be treated well. And if it's not found, if it's not the kind of more typical thyroid problems, dry skin, cold sensitivity, things like that, but it's more memory changes, it could be easily missed. So we always screen everybody that comes in with memory trouble for their thyroid. Vitamin B12, which is a very important vitamin that we get from animal protein, so vegetarians and vegans can get deficient on it. And then looking at people's sleep and their mood, pain, and medication side effects. So a lot of people are on a lot of medications, especially the older you get, the more you accumulate medicines.
Yeah.
And even things like Benadryl can negatively affect memory. And Benadryl is in Tylenol PM, Advil PM, ZQuil, all these things that people are taking to sleep, and that can negatively affect their memory. So we've cured a lot of dementia by getting people off certain medications.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
How, is it over a long term of taking those, or are some people more susceptible to over the course of a month it could start having a degrading effect?
Absolutely, and the older you are, the harder the body has, the harder time a body has processing those things. So even if it's 1 or 2 times that they're taking these medicines, it could affect their brain.
Yeah, and really, what's your best advice to stopping this? I mean, I guess it's just you have to get checked out.
Yeah, so the earlier the better. The better we can treat things, the earlier the identification and then the lifestyle modifications that we can put in place, the better people do. We do have limited medications to treat dementia right now, and really what seems to do more for people is aerobic exercise. We don't know exactly what yet, maybe skiing, but anything aerobic that gets your heart rate up, a Mediterranean-style diet, how people in Greece and southern Italy eat, also seems to prevent dementia. Sleep is vital. Cognitive activities where you're using your brain and kind of learning new things, new skills, and social interaction. So loneliness is as bad for your health as smoking. So it's really important that people take good care of their body, and that will then take care of their brain.
Interesting. And as I'm hearing you say that, I'm sensing a link between these things, and it sounds like getting neurons firing and then allowing them to rest and then getting them refiring, because socializing allows certain neurons to fire, exercise gets endorphins and neurons firing, and then learning. It's almost like the brain is a muscle, and just like legs and arms, it needs to be flexed, otherwise it degrades.
Yeah, use it or lose it, And then in terms of the neurological causes of dementia, if we've looked for medical things, we haven't found anything, then trying to determine exactly which type of neurological process is going on, Alzheimer's disease is the most common neurological cause of dementia, with mostly memory changes, but it's only about 60 to 70% of cases. There are dementias associated with Parkinson's disease and a related condition called dementia with Lewy bodies. And at University of Colorado now, we are a Lewy Body Dementia Association Center of Excellence, so we're really working on increasing awareness and education and outreach of these less common forms of dementia, because they're often missed, and people just assume that, oh, my memory's changing, it must be Alzheimer's.
Yeah, but you never know unless you get checked out. Well, thank you so much for coming on again this morning, Samantha. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And if you are down in Denver, maybe go visit Samantha at the University of Colorado at Denver, or just see your local neurologist, and make sure to keep that brain exercise. Keep learning, socializing, and getting out there and having fun in our beautiful mountains. And next, we're going to check in with Claire and get a look at the UV weather forecast.